Okay, today I want you guys to take your pens and your paper because we're going to work and you guys are going to practice. So you're going to do more practice so that you understand what we are learning. And then, okay, so still the same rules apply as they applied yesterday. Remember, we said no personal chats. If ever you have a question, you just raise your hand and then they're going to unmute you. So do not have your own personal chats because as I see more chats, I'll think that maybe someone has a question, only to realize that it's you guys talking amongst yourself. Okay, so yesterday we were busy, we're doing rounding off, and I say today we're going to do addition using rounding off. Okay. All right, before I start, okay, as most of you know me by now, I'm Emma Luleke, so I'm taking you for grade 5 maths. And then I say today we're going to do addition and we're going to look at 3 strategies for addition. So we're going to use the rounding off. We did it yesterday, so it's still fresh in your mind. And so it's rounding off and compensation. And then we're going to look at the breaking down method. And the last one that I think most of you find it easy is the column method. So as I said, whatever strategy that you use in maths, it's fine as long as you arrive to the correct answer. So you can use any strategy that you understand. You are not, we do not prescribe whatever method that you have to use. You have to use the one that you understand the most. But we have to expose you to many strategies so that you're able to choose. And we work differently, and someone can find rounding off easier, and someone can find column method easier. So I'm going to expose you to 3 methods, strategies of addition. Let's look at the success criteria. By the end of the lesson, you'll be able to understand the rounding off and compensation method. So this method, we don't only use it in addition, but we also use it in subtraction. We also use it in multiplication. So if you understand how the method works, it's going to be easier for you. And then you're also going to know how to use the breaking down method for addition. Same applies. We do not only use the breaking down method for addition, we use it for subtraction, division, and multiplication. So it's very important that you understand the method and its dynamics so that you are able to do those 4 basic operations. And then the last one is the column method. So you'll know how to use column method. So we use column method in addition, in subtraction, and we also use it in multiplication. So if you understand how column method work, it's going to be easier for you to use those methods in the 4 basic operation. I'm sure you guys know that maths is about, okay, don't worry, Ziama, it was the topic for today. You didn't miss anything. So that is what you know by the end of the lesson. As I say today, the lesson is going to be more interactive from you guys. And then okay, yesterday I saw the excitement was really too much when we're answering. Maybe just let me finish the instruction and then you answer. Then I'll be able to check your answers for something like 30 seconds and then I move on. And then yesterday, Noloiso, are you here, Noloiso, today? Noloiso raised a concern that I was going too fast. So I'll try not to be too fast today. So yeah, let's start. So as I said, that we are adding using the round off method. And yesterday we were doing the rounding off, and then we went through the rules of rounding off. We also looked at the rounding coaster. I really hope you guys practiced, because if you don't practice, then you're going to be a little bit lost. And then for those that did not see yesterday's live lesson, you can go to YouTube, you'll find us there. So the lessons are also uploaded on YouTube. So if you miss something, you can go back and rewatch at your own time on YouTube. And then you'll be able to catch up if you lost it somewhere. All right, so now that you have learned how to round off, we did that yesterday. We're going to use the method, the rounding off method and compensation to add. So here is a question. Okay, yes, Pearl. Can you just unmute Pearl? She keeps on raising her hand.
Ma'am, you went a bit too fast because when do you use one of the methods or do you have to use all the methods?
Okay, all right. So you don't have to use all the methods, Pearl, but you have to be exposed to the methods. At the end, you have to use the one that you understand the most. It's only when your teacher have said use the breaking down method, then you have to use it. You have to know it. So you have to know all these methods, but then not necessarily use them all the time. You just use the one that works the best for you, but you have to be exposed to them. Yeah. Okay. So we have a question there that I gave you. So the question will come in an assessment more or less like round off the following numbers to the nearest 100 to estimate each answer. So then the numbers that I gave you there, before we go to the numbers, what does estimate mean? Some of you have seen if you are given a number and then we say you must estimate, say you are given 470 and 478, and then you have to estimate. Some of you think estimating is just guessing. That's not correct. So in maths, estimating is not just guessing any answer that comes to your mind. To estimate means to find the value that is close enough to the right answer. So by rounding off sums, we're actually estimating a close enough answer. So estimating is not just guessing whatever comes to your mind. So when we come to addition, when we estimate, we actually round off and the answer that we get is close enough. It's not the actual answer, but it is close enough to the answer. So you have to understand when they say estimate, every time in maths, when they say estimate, they're not saying guess. So you're not just taking any guesses. You have to round off and then the answer that you get, and you always be told to either round off to 100 or round off to 10 or round off to 5. So you have to check what are they saying you must round off to, so that is estimating. So I gave you an example there. We are rounding off to 100 and then the sum that you have to do is 475 plus 844. So now you can ask yourself, why do we have to estimate? Why should we estimate? Why can't we just calculate? Why can't I use my column method to calculate? So estimation in maths, it helps you to see your close enough answer. So remember, you also did rounding off. So it will help you to see if you could calculate the actual answer, what will your answer be? So your answer should be somewhere, it should somewhere be close to the estimated answer. So that's the difference then between guessing and, okay, I see people are already saying answers there. Maybe let's just listen to what I'm explaining, then you guys will answer. I'm going to give you time to answer. There's lots of those activities that you guys are going to answer. For now, just listen, because if we continue and you were busy typing the answer, you're going to say you did not understand. So for now, I'm explaining, you listen, and then we're going to come to the interaction time. Okay, so here we see I saw already on the answers. I won't always be checking the chats as I'm explaining. I'll have time to check what you guys are saying on the chats. So 475 to the nearest 100, as some of you have said, is 500. You are right. And then 844 to the nearest 100 becomes 800. So when we round off, it makes the sum easier for us to add. Even if, say for instance, I did not round off 844, and then you're adding 500 with 844, it's going to be easier for you to add, because already you know if there is zeros, or if you're adding 200 plus 300, you always know it's 500. So if when we're rounding off, it makes it easier. It makes it easier for us to get, that's why it's called an estimate answer. So you don't even need to go to your book. If we're doing mental maths and then I say 500 plus 475, automatically in your brain, you know it's 975, right? So that is the reason why we round off to estimate. So that when you go down to actually calculate the answer, you can see whether your estimate was far off or your answer is it wrong or whatever. So here you see, after we've rounded off, now we have 500 plus 800, and then our answer is 1,300. For those of you that didn't know, if we have it like this and it's mental maths, remember mental maths, you're not even given anything to work on because it's mental maths. You have to do it mentally in your brain without any working things. So you just say 5 plus 8. Those are hundreds, right? So for mental maths, you say 5 plus 8, the answer is 13, and then you just add 2 zeros. You see that? So that is why estimating becomes easier when you have rounded off, because if you have zeros, you don't need to add 3 plus whatever. So that is how we estimate. So there is this answer. This is a close enough answer, not necessarily the accurate answer. So an estimate answer and an accurate answer. Accurate answer means if you have to go down to the paper and you calculate, that is the actual answer that you get. And then estimate is a close enough answer. And how do we get it? We get it by rounding off either both the numbers or either one of the numbers. That is how we get an estimate. So next time your teacher says estimate by rounding off, don't think estimate means guess. No, you have to round off and then you add. That is an estimate answer. So we can use rounding off to estimate the answer. Okay, just checking what you guys are saying. Oh, okay. Okay, yes, I said they should stop typing. Yes, indeed. For now, it's listening time. I don't want to lose anyone because this one is very important. I don't want to lose anyone as you guys are typing. Okay, so rounding off. Now we come rounding off and compensation. Maybe it's the first time you're hearing about the concept, or maybe your teacher have exposed you to rounding off and compensation, or maybe some of your teachers just did the column method when you're adding. So now I'm exposing you to rounding off and compensation. So how do we use rounding off and compensation? This is the time when I want you guys to take your pen and your paper and just go with me, because I really want you to understand this part. Okay, so this is one of the methods that we can use when we're adding. And then I gave you a sign there. Calculate 567 plus 847 by using the rounding off and compensation method. And then you see I gave an instruction, round off to the nearest 100. So grade 5s, it is important every time, please read the question and you check the instruction, what the instruction requires of you. So number 1, first you have to find out from the question, which value should you round off to? So the question won't be complete if I just say calculate blah, blah, blah by using rounding off, and then I don't tell you you round off to what. But maybe if you're not told, you can see you can't round off those numbers to the nearest 1,000. Obviously, you can either round off to 10 or 200. But in this case, I gave you guys an instruction. I said you should round off to the nearest 100. And then if you found out that which value are we rounding off to, then you round off only one number and then you estimate. So you don't round off both the numbers because you have to compensate. Compensate means that if you lose something, you have to get it back, right? So when we talk about rounding off and compensation, you see how we compensate. So compensate means if I lose something, I get it back. So if you have to round off both the numbers, it means now you have to compensate both the numbers. I'll explain because I know we are not at the same level. For those of you that are really grasping, I would explain what happens if you round off both the numbers. How do you compensate? I'll also show you that. But for now, you just round off only one number and you estimate. So it doesn't matter which number you round off. I'll come to you. I see a hand raised. So it doesn't matter which number you round off. You can round off either one of the number. You can either round off this one or you can round off this one. Just make sure that you round off one number. And then after you've rounded off and you've gotten the estimated answer, then you can compensate. Now, listen. So we choose any number here. I decided to choose 567. So 567 rounded off to the nearest 100 is 600. Right? 567 rounded off to the nearest 100 is 600. So then I take the 600 because now that is the rounded answer to from 567. I then say 600 plus the one that I did not round off, which is 847. Listen to this. I said when we do rounding off an estimate, you can do the answer, you can do your answer mentally, meaning that you do not need a pen to get an estimated answer. So how do you do that mentally? So you're going to say 6 plus 8. What is 6 plus 8? It's 14. So you write the 14, and then here there is zeros. So these zeros, you're actually adding them to 47. So 600 plus 847, the answer is 1447. Remember, this is an estimate answer, not the actual answer. Why is it not the actual answer, someone may ask? It's not the actual answer because we now added 600, which is the rounded off number, and we're adding it to 847. So the actual answer will actually be to calculate these ones. Can you see that? So this is an estimated answer. It's an estimate. So now that we have rounded off, I want us to compensate. I'll go back again. I'll re-say what I said. When we're rounding off and compensating, number one, you have to look at the value that we are rounding off to. Number two, you choose only one number. Either it can be any number. You choose any number. It can be the first one or the second one. You choose and then you round it off, and then you take the answer that you rounded off to, you add it to the one that you didn't round off. And then that answer is called an estimate. You see, we didn't guess. It's an estimate. So we didn't just say, ta-da-da, okay, what's the answer? We actually went through steps. So this is also a routine procedure. So we went through steps to get the estimate answer. Okay, now that when you've gotten the estimate answer, we then come to, because it says rounding off and compensation. So if we just round off, we haven't compensated anything. So let's check, what is it that you're compensating? So you go back to the number that you rounded off. You see what happened? We had 567, and then we rounded off to get 600. Can you see that? Now, our original number have increased. It increased by how much for us to get a rounded off answer? We added 33, or it increased by 33. So now that is where compensation comes. Remember inverse operation? And we say the inverse of addition is subtraction, and the inverse of subtraction is addition. So yes, so we're going to do inverse. Very important, don't forget. So if we add, when we're rounding up, if we rounded up, we have to subtract. If we rounded down, we have to add. So rounding down means that if, yes, say we have 540, and then we rounded off and then became 500, it means we rounded down because we actually lost. But here what happened? We gained. How much did we gain? We gained 33. Can you see that? So we gained 33. We gain 33 here. So it means that from this actual answer, this is not the actual answer. We added 33 when we rounded off. So it means that we have to remove the 33. So we remove the 33, and then the actual answer now is 1414. So grade 5s, we round off one number, and then we add the rounded off answer to the one that we did not round off. After that, the answer that we call it an estimate. And then we go back and check the number that we rounded off, how much did we either add or subtract. And then we have to compensate that. And when we compensate, we do inverse operation, right? We do inverse operation. So for instance, here we added, it means that we have to subtract. It means we added, now we have to subtract. Before I move on, I see there was a hand raised. Any questions? It was something, I didn't see. Yes, Teresa. Admin, can you please unmute Teresa? Yes.
For the rounding off, when I was at school, my teacher gave me a hack that would help me to round off numbers much more better. So the poem was 4 or less, just ignore, 5 or more, No,
Yes. Were you here yesterday?
no, it's my first time
Oh,
here now.
okay. You're welcome. Yesterday we're doing rounding off. We did exactly what you're saying. Ne?
Hey,
But do you understand the rounding off and compensation method?
yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'll take the last question. Just raise your hand and then they're going to unmute you if you have a question. Okay, let's see what you guys are saying on the chat. Okay.
Ma'am, I raised my hand and then I saw that I was unmuted.
Yes. Who is talking?
Ma'am, it's Pal who's speaking.
Okay. Hi, Tava.
Ma'am, it's Pal.
It's Pal. Oh, hi, Pal. Hi, Pal.
Yes, ma'am.
Mhm.
So, ma'am, at the bottom, it's confusing when we have to. For me, it's confusing when I have to subtract 33
Mhm.
after adding it. Since we added it when we were
When
rounding
you
off.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. So now it's confusing to subtract it for me because I'm used to it. We round off and then both numbers, and then the numbers that we found, we
Mhm.
add them together.
Okay. All right. Okay. I
Yes,
understood.
ma'am.
Oh, okay. I understand what you're saying, Pal. Now, remember, I said for those that are at an advanced stage, you can do rounding off both the numbers. But then for some people,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, for some people, it's going to be confusing if when we rounded off one, we rounded up and the other number we rounded down. So it means that one, you have to do the inverse. Yeah? So where you rounded up,
Inverse rule.
yes. So where you rounded off,
Yes, ma'am.
where you rounded up, you have to subtract, and where you rounded down, you have to add. Hence why I said for those that are advanced,
Yes, ma'am.
you can round off both the numbers. But for now, we are starting everyone on the same level so that they just understand this part. Nepal? Okay. All right. So I'm going to continue. Let me just check. All right. So for those that, because I understand that for some of us, if it's a new concept, it takes more examples for us to do for you to understand. So don't worry, we are not done with rounding off and compensating. So let's check the other example. Oh, okay. All right. So here I also incorporated column method so that we can check. So I said we have to do 3 methods, remember. Now, because of time constraint, we'll do rounding off and compensation, and then we double check with column method. So remember, we said our answer was 1,414. So we then use the column method to check if is that the actual answer, because we cannot just say the answer is 1,414 without checking. Remember, maths is about facts. So now this is me introducing column method a little bit for you, and then we're going to go back to rounding off and compensation. So with column method, I think almost everyone is familiar with this method, but if you are not, when we did place value, remember we talked about place value. I said that it's very important if you're confusing your values to have a place value table, and then we always work from right going to left, and then on the numbers. So it's still the same numbers that we did on rounding off and compensation. So the numbers that we have there is still the 567 plus 847. So then we have to put it in place value table. So this 7 is a unit, 6 is hundreds, 5 is tens. And then same applies to here, 7 is a unit, 4 is tens, and 8 is hundreds. And grade 5s, can I kindly ask that when I'm explaining, do not type. Because when you are typing, you are missing something. And then you say you didn't understand. So when I'm explaining, let's not type. When I say time for questions, then you can ask questions, né? So that everyone is on the same page. Today I see we increased the participant, we around participants. So there might be people that were not there yesterday. So we're also going to bear with them if they miss something. All right, so here, and then we have put under our place value table, and then 7 plus 7, because we are plusing. So it's 7 plus 7. So unit with unit plus is unit, tens plus is tens, and hundreds plus is 100. That is the column method now. So 7 plus 7, the answer is 14. So this is 14. So we always write down the units and we carry. So we only carry if the number has tens and units. If it's just units, we don't carry anything. So 7 plus 7 is 14. So we write down 4 and we carry the 1. So the one that we carried, you see, I wrote it in a different color pen. And then we say 6 plus 4 is 10, plus the one that we carried is 11. So we write down 1 and then we carry 1 to the next value. So you have to carry 1 to the next value. And then 5 plus 1 is 6, or you can say 5 plus 8 is 13. Either way we are adding, it doesn't matter which order we do it. So 5 plus 1 is 6, and then 6 plus 8 is 14. So we write 4 and then we write 1. So this is how we write it. So if we go back on the last slide here, I'm just going back to the previous slide. We said that the actual answer after we have compensated is 1,414. And then we proved using another different method of addition. We used column method, and then we see that the answer is indeed 1,414. So that is how we also do the column method. And then back to rounding off and compensation. So if maybe you're not listening on the first explanation, now it's time to listen again. Your brain is now familiar with this. Okay, so the question is, estimate the answer first by rounding off to the nearest 100, then calculate the answer. And then I said, yes, so you choose either one of the two numbers to round off. So you choose either 325 or 652. You choose either one to round off. Nepal, this one with one of rounding off, because you said you don't understand if we're rounding off one. And then, so I said, let's round off 325. So you see from 325 rounded off, the answer is 300. And then now we estimate. How do we estimate? We take the answer that we rounded off and then we add it to the one that we did not round off. So now the answer that we rounded off is 300 plus 652. Remember, I said with estimation, you can do it mentally. So how do you do it mentally? 3 plus 6 is 9. And then these zeros added to 52, they give you 52. So the answer is 952. So with estimation, you can easily do mental maths without having to work it out on the answer. So I've shown you how we do it. So you say 3 plus 6, it gives us 9. And then these zeros added to 52, it gives us 52. So the answer is 952. This 952 is not the actual answer, but it is an estimated answer. And what is an estimated answer? I said an estimated answer is, and it's not an accurate answer, but is a close enough answer. So then, after we've gotten the estimated answer, it says it. So this shows that our actual answer should be somewhere around here. It should be around 952. So we can have the actual answer being 10,000, because the estimated answer gives us a clue of what our actual answer will be. So then, when we rounded off 325 to 300, you see what happened? To move from 325 to 300, we subtracted 25, or not subtracted, it went down. The number we had 325, we rounded it off, and then we got 300. So it means we actually lost 25. So now that we have lost 25, that is where our compensation have to come in. And I said we do inverse operation. That's why here I say subtracted, so that when you think of inverse, for those that don't know what inverse operation is opposite operation. So since to move from 325 to 300, we subtracted 25, or we lost 25, it means we have to compensate that. And when we compensate, we do inverse, and inverse here of subtraction is addition. So it means that on our actual answer that we said is 952, we have to add, so on our estimated answer, that is 952, we have to add 25 that we lost when we rounded off. So then we say on the estimated answer, 952 plus 25, and then the answer is 977. This means that if you add 325 plus 652, which is the original question, you are going to get 977. So that is rounding off and compensation. So you round off and then you check on the number that you rounded off. Did we lose or did we gain? So losing is how much did we subtract with? Gaining, how much did we add to get to the rounded off answer? And then after we round off one of the digits, then we add it to one of the number that is not rounded off. And then the answer that we get, we call it an estimate or an estimated answer. And then you check, if we lost, we have to add. If we added, we have to subtract. So remember to do the inverse operation, and then you're going to get your answer. So how do you prove this? Because we are mathematicians and we have to prove. We cannot just take one idea and run away with it. So we prove it by doing or by using the column method. Let me explain the column method and then I'll take two people. So the column method, we do the same thing. Place value table, 100, tens, and units. So we place our numbers under the appropriate value. Remember, place value, we said, for those that were here when we started, we said place value is where something stays. So these numbers stay there on the place value. So we place them there and then we add. 5 plus 2 gives us 7. And then 2 plus 5 gives us 7. And then 3 plus 6 gives us 9. So using the column method, you see we got the same answer after we've compensated. So that is another way of proving that your answer was right. Now, 2 questions, and then there is a rounding off and compensation that you guys have to do on your own. Then we can do the breaking down method. Admin, you can unmute whoever have their hands raised. Yes.
Miss, I don't understand that. I don't understand the place where you where you break down and then you put them in columns. I don't understand that one.
Or the column method, this one.
Yes, miss.
This one. Okay.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
All right, so this is place value, my dear. So in place value, if you have a question or if you get a question that says, what is the place value of these digits? So 5 is units, and then 2 is tens, 3 is 100. Remember that from grade 4. And then same applies to here. So what I did was to draw a place value table, and I labeled these are hundreds, these are tens, and these are units. So under the units, 5 is a unit, you write it there. And then 2 is tens, you write it under tens. And then 3 is hundreds, you write it under hundreds. So you do the same thing to this one. 2 is units, so you write it under units. And then 5 is tens, you write it under tens. And then 6 is hundreds, you write it under hundreds. So with the column method, unit, we add units, tens add tens, and then hundreds, they add hundreds. You see also when you do the breaking down method, we do the same thing, né?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Last question. Yes. Okay, bad feedback there. Can we take another hand? Okay. All right. I see maybe there is no more questions. Okay, so let's look at example 3. Okay, let's look at example 3. Calculate, now is thousands. Calculate 2,587 plus 9,458 by using rounding off and compensation method. First, estimate by rounding off to 1,000. Remember to choose any number that you round off. So here, I chose 2,587. And then remember, we're rounding off to the nearest 1,000. So 2,587 to the nearest 1,000 is 3,000, right? Okay, thank you, Lutando. You're saying you understand. That's good. Okay, I was just checking what you guys are saying on your chat. All right, so we are here. And then, so first we have to round off any number. So we chose that one is 3,000. And then thereafter, we estimate. How do we estimate? 3,000 plus 9,458. Check now, you can still do it mentally. 3 plus 9 gives us 12. Ne? And then these zeros added to 458, you see still the same. You see how easy it is to estimate. So then the answer there, the estimated answer is 12,458. That is the estimated answer. Now we check. Remember, we are rounding off and compensating. So we have to compensate, but before we can compensate, we have to check. Did we go up or did we go down? So from 2,587 to 3,000, what happened? We went up, you are right, we went up. And we have to check, we went up by how many? By how many? So, or by how much? So to move from 2,587 to 3,000, we added 413. We added 413 because we added. Now, how do you compensate? That's where our inverse operation comes in. We have to subtract because we added. Now we have to remove it from the estimate answer. So then we say 413, we remove it from 12,458. So then the answer that you're going to get is 12,045, right? So you check. After you have rounded off, you check, did we go up or did we go down? And then we have to compensate. If we went up, we have to subtract. If we went down, we have to add. So we have to prove this because maths have to make sense. So here is the column method, especially that one that asks that they don't understand. Now this is the time to check. So we can see we have units, tens, hundreds, and thousands. Units, tens, hundreds, and thousands. So unit 7 is under unit there. Can you see that? And then 8 is under tens, 5 is under hundreds, and 2 is under thousand. So we do the same thing. 8 is under units, and then 5 is under tens, 4 is under hundreds, and 9 is under thousands. Then we add. 7 plus 8 gives us 15. We write down the units and we carry the tens. So 7 plus 8 is 15. We write down 5, we carry 1. And I said plus 1 here to show that we carried that one. And then 9 plus 5 gives us 4, which is 14, sorry. We write down 4 and we carry 1. And then 5 plus 1 is 6, 6 plus 4 is 10. We write down 0 and we carry 1. And then 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 9 is 12. So you can see our answer is still the same as that one that you got, 12,045. So that is the answer. And then now together. Now we are together. We have 6 minutes left. I think we're going to look at breaking down on Tuesday when we come back. Let's do this together to see that you guys are understanding. I don't want you to look at these small prints. It's not for you. This is for me. I don't want you to look at that because then that would be cheating. All right. So the numbers, it says calculate by using rounding off and compensation method. First, estimate by rounding off to the nearest 100. And then the numbers that we're adding, 5,832 plus 3,940. Choose one of the numbers. And then I'm going to check now. Now you can go to the charts and then I'll check which number you chose. And if you round, you can choose any one. So I'll double check which number you chose and see if you rounded it off properly. Now, you choose one of these. You can either choose 5,832 or you can choose 3,940. Then you round it off to the nearest 1,000. So now I want to go to the charts to see which numbers you chose and then what are the answers. Okay, Lindo, yes. Alison, yes. Okay. Yes, Nokolo. Yes, Kundai. So you choose any one. Okay, so far I see. Okay, Ziama, round off properly. Remember, we are rounding off to the nearest 1,000. Yes, Sinhle, Kamu, Lihumo, yes. Okay. Yes, you guys are getting it right. Okay. So now remember those piece of papers or the papers or a book that I said you should have. So write down whatever number that you chose, write it down, and the one that you estimated. Now I'm going to move on. Then on the number that you chose, now you have to be honest. On the number that you chose, add the one that you did not round off. On the number that you chose, you have rounded it off. Add the one that you did not round off. So add them together. So I want you to say if you chose 5,832, obviously the answer is 6,000. And then if you chose 3,940, the answer is 4,000. Now you take the one that you take your answer, either you take 6,000 or 4,000, and then you add you're either going to add 5,832 or you're going to add 3,940. So you take the rounded off answer plus the one that you did not round off. Then you add them together for me. Remember, I said you can do this mentally. You don't need a pen or a calculator to calculate. You can do it mentally. So you take the first number, which is 1,000, and you take that other one, and then you add those thousands, you write it down, and then you write the 100 tens and units of that other number. Okay, now I'm going to go to chat and see the answers that you guys gave. Okay, I see people are still giving me answers for rounded off. Okay, all right, yes, Zinhle, Pearl, Kamu, Joy, okay, Kelly, Bryce, Tubelihle, Dakal, yes. All right, I see Riafana, yes. Well done, Torisho. Okay, all right, it seems like most of you, all right, it's fine. So you rounded off the first number, is fine. So you have 6,000 plus 3,940. Luandile. Let's see, Luandile. Okay, yes, Luandile, you are right. All right. Okay, it's only, I think it was only Luandile went for the second one, which is good, go get him. All right now, so most of you said the answer is 9,940, right? Or Luandile said the answer is 9,832, which is fine. So now, what is the second thing that you have to do? After you get, so that is the estimated answer. So after you get the estimated answer, then you check the number that you rounded off. You check whether it increased or decreased by how much. For example, this 6,000, from 5,000 to 6,000, there was an increase. And then from here, there was a decrease. Check if it decreased by how much. And then you tell me if it's increased, you say by how much. If it decreased, you tell me by how much. It's almost time up. Yes, Nonkulego. Maybe instead of asking me how long is left, you should give me the answer. Yes, Pearl, increase of 168. Yes, Lindo. Pila Sunday, you need to recalculate. 168. Yes, okay. All right, increase by 168. Yes, you are right. By 168. Okay, then I'll go back. So now remember, then we said inverse operation. So you take your estimated answer, which was 9,940. And then because we increased, it means that we have to subtract. So then you subtract it from the estimated answer, then we're going to get the actual answer. Then we're going to get the actual answer. So So you take the 168, because we increased, we have to do the inverse. So we have to subtract it from the actual, from the estimated answer. And the answer that you get is the actual answer. What answers did you get? Yes, Pearl. Yes, Nonkulego. Yes, Joy. Yes, Galaxy. Galaxy should just, I know that's not a name, it's a phone. Yes, Kamu. Yes, Alison. Okay, Kahis. Praise, yes. Yes, okay. All right. I see you guys got things right. Well done. Ziama, you need to check there for me. Yes, Naledi. Yes, Jean. Yes, okay, all right. So that is the rounding off and conversation. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time. I don't know if I'm allowed to just take one question because my time is up. Before that, so it means on Tuesday, we are going to do the breaking down method. And then we're also going to look at subtraction. Our next lesson is on Tuesday. Next week, tomorrow, I said it's a holiday. We are meeting next week, Tuesday, and we are meeting the same time, 11. Have a pen and a paper. It was great. The numbers have increased. You can tell your friends to join so that they can get these free lessons. Let me take one question and then we close. Admin, one. I said there was a, yes.
Ma'am,
Yes.
you got confused with me. The thing yesterday, my mother wrote her name as Noloiso. Now she changed the name.
Okay, all right. Okay, it's fine. Now you are?
Pila Sunday.
Oh, okay, Pila Sunday. Did you get what we're saying, Pila Sunday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, was I fast today?
No, ma'am.
Okay, all right, Pila Sunday. All right, guys, see you on Tuesday, 11. It was nice having you. Remember, you can go to YouTube and rewatch everything that we've went through. If you didn't get time to scribble some questions, you can go back to YouTube and rewatch this, and then you'll be able to practice. So until then, stay safe, and I'm out.